you can reinvent yourself and you can dictate your own life. It just depends on what you want to do with it. Hello and welcome back to the Karla Eli Show. I'm your host, Karla Eli, and I'm here to guide women towards wisdom so they may unlock a life of abundance by mastering the feminine balance. Let's get into today's flow. How do we feel about this new microphone? There is a microphone in here. Let me show you. But I thought it would be cutesy to like make this our corner, our space of just flowing, of just being apart from reality right now. Whenever you're with me, you're entering the world of love, of dreams, of possibilities. And whenever I saw this like mini wand, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. Let me see how I can implement it. And in today's flow, God has really just poured into my heart speaking about what it means to be a high value woman. What is a high value woman? The true definition of high value. No, it doesn't have anything to do with your outer appearance, with your net worth, with any of those surface level worldly viewed of high value. When you are your own high value woman, your own it girl, there's so much more to it. And that's what we're going to unpack today. Of course, today we were just flowing, so I'm not going to be pulling up any scripture or talking about a specific book in particular. I'm just going to be sharing with all of you my personal experience of really becoming this high value woman, of becoming the woman of my dreams. I know that this word is thrown around like popcorn, just like people just always using it as a buzzword, but really I want us to think about what type of woman we want to be. And the way that you can embody this energy is honestly by looking at your role models and not just looking at them, but really studying them. For me personally, it was always Esther from the book of Esther. It's in scripture, it's in the Bible. But also my biggest admiration was my mom. And I know me saying that my biggest role model was my mom comes from a place of privilege because a lot of us might not have that, might not have that desire to be like our mothers. But truthfully, the older I got, the more I wanted to be like my mom. And the reason for that is because she truly taught me what having inherent worth was. I had no idea what inherent worth was until I saw my mom. And she never explained to me what inherent worth was or what worth was. She embodied it. So she never had to communicate with me that she knew her value, that she knew the woman that she was. She was just always doing it, which pulled me even more into my mom. My mom, honestly, I always tell her, I'm like, Mom, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you're so secure in yourself and you're just so mentally strong and you're so wise. Like, how? And see, here's the thing, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. That's why I'm telling you guys, like, a high value woman doesn't have like this big role in corporate America or just in the corporate world in general. She's not multiple people at the same time. Being a high value woman is knowing your inherent worth through and through. It's knowing your value, knowing what you stand for, knowing who you are so that you can make the correct decisions in your life and be that good inspiration to those people around you. And I'm going to dive in deeper into a very controversial story because you can turn into a high value woman at any point in your life. It's a decision that you have to make, though. It's like recognizing that you don't want to live a specific way anymore. And it's okay. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your aesthetic. It's okay to want more for yourself. And I'll go into that a little bit deeper on the Wednesday wisdom, but I'll touch on it very surface level here with all of you. For all of you that don't know, my parents actually started dating when my dad was married. Let that sink in for a little bit. Yeah, that sounds bad. I know how it sounds, and maybe I'll have another episode where I talk in deep and maybe bring in my parents for them to share their story. Ooh, that sounds controversial. My mom was technically my dad's mistress for a little bit, which is awful. I don't think I'm proud of that, but I'm proud of what they did with their story. With that being said, my mom didn't let other people's labels of her get to her, right? Which is why I admire her so much. She never changed her heart because, yeah, being a mistress is not something to be proud of. And mind you, she didn't do it intentionally. And also, like, Karla, you speak about being a high value woman all the time and you have morals and you have values. How could you be so okay with this? No, it wasn't me dictating my mom's life and I'm not okay with it. That's why I literally did the exact opposite of what my mom did. But enough about that. I don't want to talk about that. That'll be for another episode or another show. What I really want to talk about and discuss is that you can reinvent yourself and you can dictate your own life. It just depends on what you want to do with it. For example, my mom went from being that mistress to being a kept wife. Again, she didn't do it with the intention of, having my dad commit that. It takes two to make a mistake, right? But she didn't let that term define her for the rest of her life. On the contrary, she recognized her mistakes, she repented, and she did what she needed to do to become the woman that she is today. By my mom deciding to reinvent herself and invest in herself, her daughter, aka me, saw everything behind the scenes, saw her whole transformation. And honestly, that's the reason why I am the way that I am today, because my mom set me up for success. She didn't allow people to label her as a specific way. And she lived her life. She continued to live her life. And those who wanted to be a part of her life were, and those who didn't weren't. And that's the thing about being a high value woman. A high value woman recognizes when she's wrong. A high value woman is not proud. She's not a proud woman, like can't recognize her mistakes, or she's not irrational. On the contrary, she knows how to dominate her emotions. She knows when to say yes, when to say no. She understands her boundaries. She's also self-regulated. Because she takes the time to invest in her character, she's able to make the correct decisions in her life that will lead her to abundance. But going back to my own journey, because I saw all the mistakes my mom did while growing up, I said, absolutely not. I do not want to replicate my mom's love story. I do not want to make the same mistakes that she did. I'm going to take her story, I'm going to learn from her, and I'm going to apply that into my life. So, of course, I avoided a lot of mistakes because I learned from my mom. That's someone making decisions out of wisdom, right? It's not intelligence. Intelligence versus wisdom, it's not the same thing. Intelligence is knowing something because you made the mistake versus wisdom. Wisdom is learning from other people so that you don't commit the same mistakes. So that's exactly what I did. And I'm so thankful that I decided to act in that way, because it really set me up for the woman that I was meant to be. By the way, it's a choice. I could have replicated my mom's story. I could have said, oh, because I didn't have a mom who was pure, who was good, who was of character in the beginning stages of her life, I need to make the same mistakes. I need to experiment for myself. Are you serious? I hear so many people excuse themselves and their behavior and they blame it all on their parents. At some point, you become a little too old to continuously say that. Oh, it's because my parents didn't teach me. Are you serious? Grow up. If you're listening to this, you are the one who wants to level up and be the best version of yourself. And I'm here to tell you that it's possible. A lot of people get triggered with my content because what I challenge them to do is to let go of their victim mentality. Oof. That's something that a high value woman never rests in. She doesn't get mad, she gets paid. And a high value woman, honestly, is a loose term. She could be a stay at home mom, she could be a stay at home wife, she can be a kept wife, but she could also be running her own business. She could be running her own home. She could be working for corporate America. There's so many different ways that you could be a high value woman, but the difference here is a high value woman masters her craft. She masters it. She's not wearing different hats, trying to please different people. She's not a boss babe. She's not. She has a wisdom enough to discern when to say yes, when to say no, when to stop and think, when to respond. And I'm here to take you along that path and along that journey. And we'll talk about it a little bit more on the Wednesday Wisdom. But these are some key points. I want to get you ready to understand what the term high value truly means. Because, by the way, a high value woman, her fruits, her labor produces love, joy, peace, stability. And when you embody all of these things, it's going to be very easy for you to attract another high value man, to attract a man of character, because in your heart, there is no space for anything else. So that's why high value women don't have a hard time when it comes to love, because they've already mastered their own character, they've mastered their craft. So now they can tap into relationships. A lot of people want to jump into relationships first, be obsessed with men and be obsessed with like why a guy rejected them. But the problem here, babes, is that you need to become your dream woman. You need to become that high value woman that you've always dreamt of in order to attract those men that you want. But see, it's so much easier to just want something. Remember, we talked about the be, do, have. It's so easy to be on the do, right? So that you could have instead of be first, being, so you know what to do in order to have. In short, a high value woman is a woman of character. A high value woman is also submissive. She knows when to submit. She doesn't try to control. She lets go of control because when she submits, she's given everything. Let that sit for a second. When she submits, she is given everything. Ladies, we're not here to fight against the current. We weren't designed to fight in that way to survive. We were designed to live a life of ease. And with that comes learning when and how to submit. Oof. It's going to be hard for some of us to accept that. But that's just something that I've observed. That's something that I've practiced. And it truly brings success, happiness, and peace. I also just want to take a moment to say that I do offer mentorship and I also am offering in person events. So if you're in the Southern California area, either in the OC, San Diego, I'm going to be hosting a women's mastermind specifically for women entrepreneurs, but relationships is a hot topic that we will discuss because what I'm realizing is that toxic relationship, toxic business. Healthy relationship, good business. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit deeper in the mastermind in person. But if you do want to work one on one with me, you can apply at www.karlaeli.com. And I'm just so excited to work with women who want to invest in themselves and see this as an investment. Because what I realized is when you take the time to truly learn how to overcome those limiting beliefs, your life starts to come together. So if you want to learn deeper into the concepts that I teach, but you want me to personalize it to you, I do offer mentorship/coaching, and I am going to be hosting an in-person event starting February 29th. It's going to be an 8-week process. Again, the women that I want to work with see themselves as investments. They don't see themselves as expenses. But with that being said, thank you so much for staying in today. And I'll be seeing you on the Wednesday Wisdom. Bye-bye.